Hello, Singapore. I'm Richard Hatch, and I played the role of Captain Apollo in the classic sci-fi television series Battlestar Galactica, and also in the reimagined version of Battlestar, playing the role of Tom Zarek. And for all your entertainment news, stay tuned to 938 Live.
From 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sports. Cheers.
You're listening to Singapore's longest running and only sports talk show on radio, 16 years and still going strong. A good Saturday to you and welcome to SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Raj Kumar and today we turn the spotlight on esports and gaming. This is our third show of the year in relation to the multi-billion-dollar gaming industry. So much has happened since our last show in July. New games, new technologies. We've got new guest speakers as well as new prizes to be given away for the PS3, the PS4, the Xbox 360, and of course the Xbox One, which has already been launched in Singapore just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we have games for all of the different consoles, plus tickets to Game Start, which is a gaming convention happening for the first time in Singapore in about 3 weeks at Suntec City. So for now, though, it's time to review and preview what are the latest games in the third quarter of 2014. So parents or adults listening to today's show can pick up ideas on what to get for your kids and loved ones to keep them busy for this 3-day holiday weekend or for even the November and December holidays. It's also for the adult gamers who are in their 30s or 40s and beyond to also keep abreast with some of the latest software in the gaming scene. Alright then, time to say hello to our 4 gaming experts in the studio with me. Jonathan Toyard is back in the house, and John is the former editor and writer for GameSpot Asia, and he appeared on our last show at the end of July. So John, which game have you been busy with since we last met?
I've actually been going back in time, playing some retro games on Mega Drive and on the Super Nintendo at this place called Versus City at 48 Yio Chu Kang Road. It's a nice little spot to play games, but
it's a gaming place.
It's a LAN cafe specializing on retro gaming, and they actually have like a few arcade cabinets. So I've been playing a bunch of old games like the old Street Fighter 2 as well.
What do you mean by arcade cabinets? As in
like the actual machines?
Yes. The stand.
Yes.
The standalone.
Standalone machines.
Wow.
We can play a lot of games on that. And this one game I've been playing so far is called Twinkle Star Sprites. It's a bit weird. It's actually like a combination of a fighting game, a puzzle game, and a versus shooter. You know, like one of those old 2D shoot 'em ups that's like on the vertical plane.
Okay.
And the screen is split, so you actually have to make sure your opponent gets screwed over by throwing as much projectiles on this screen as possible by doing chains.
Right. Okay.
But it's easy to pick up, but it's really hard to master. And it's a very underrated kind of classic.
Well, so you've been busy back in the
past.
Also making his return to SportsZone is Chris Jennings from 2K Games. And Chris, I'm assuming you're just beaming with pride and joy considering the 3 upcoming releases of WWE 2K15, Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and NBA 2K15.
Yes, it's actually it's a very busy time for 2K. But Raj, you did forget one of our greatest games.
I did.
Civilization Beyond Earth.
Oh, Civilization Beyond Earth.
By Firaxis.
Okay.
Who did Civilization, XCOM. It's coming out on October 24th. So I'm very upset that you forgot about that.
I didn't get the press release. I didn't get any. Yeah.
Okay, I've got to improve on my PR there.
So it's four big games coming out.
4 games coming out in October.
Okay.
Busy time.
What's the name again? Sorry.
The other one is Civilization Beyond Earth.
It's a first-person shooter.
No, it's a turn-based strategy game. Yes.
Okay. Now you know I'm not.
We'll discuss after this.
Yeah, exactly. Making her debut on SportsZone today is Alicia Lee from Zombits. Alicia, tell us a little about this company of yours called Zombits.
Hey Raj, so Zombits is actually a boutique marketing agency, and we happen to do marketing and services for a lot of gaming clients in Singapore. So we cover marketing, social media marketing, and a little bit of PR. So that's what we cover.
That's right, and you cover the PR for certain...
For Warner Games,
okay.
So Warner Brothers Games. So today we have Shadow of Mordor that we'll talk about.
That's right. You'll be talking. You're wearing 2 hats today. You're talking from the point of view of Zombits as well as this next thing that is coming in about 3 weeks. The event is called Game Start, which you happen to be the director of the event. In a nutshell, tell us who came up with the idea of this 2-day event at Suntec City and who are the main organizers.
So we're really excited about Game Start. I'm personally an ex-EA staff and
Electronic Arts.
Yes, Electronic Arts.
Okay.
So, we've seen the big shows, the global shows, E3, Tokyo Game Show, and even PAX, which you have in the US and now Australia. And I thought, why not Southeast Asia? Why not Singapore? Because we don't have a big English language show for this part of the world. So that's what we want to do. We want to bring it here. We want gamers in Singapore to experience, previews, exclusives, meet producers, international guests. And at the same time, we also want to support our local communities, because when I was in EA, I was meeting like so many passionate gamers and passionate communities, like the Versus City guys, for example. They do this awesome retro gaming thing, and we just wanted to give them a platform to showcase their talent and also all the wonderful things that they've been doing.
This is not entirely the first for as far as a gaming convention is concerned in Singapore. I'm sure the 4 or 5 of us here in the studio can agree that years ago in the previous decade, there was a World Cybergaming Championship, I believe, that took place in Singapore, and NSA was formed, National Sports Association was formed under the leadership of Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, who was then the Minister of MCYS. So what happened to that, the WG's World Gaming? Yeah.
WCG.
Yeah, WCG.
So WCG was primarily esports tournament. So they pushed very hard for things like cyber games. So it's a little bit different from what we're doing.
Okay.
For us, yes, we still support esports, but it's just one component of what we're doing. The bulk of the show is actually where we bring in big partners like Blizzard, like 2K, like Sony, Bandai Namco Games, and we also bring in like indie studios, local talent like Witching Hour, like Inzen, who also make games and produce really solid content.
Okay, we'll hear much more from Alicia regarding Game Start, and all of our 4 winners for today. You'll also win tickets to Game Start. And completing our panel of guests is Alan Cho. He's from Blizzard. Alan, I understand your agency handles the regional interests of the brand. So what's been keeping you busy in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, hi Raj. Thanks for having me on. So this is an exciting time for us, actually. We have a lot of active franchises. World of Warcraft, we're having Warlords of Draenor, which is the next expansion coming in November. We've got Heroes of the Storm, which is kind of our brawler, which is in alpha right now, and hopefully going to beta soon. We've got Hearthstone, which is our newest free-to-play game.
Okay, so just to clarify for the listeners, maybe you can define what alpha and beta is.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right.
So when a lot of times with online games, before they kind of go commercial into the broader public, they have kind of test phases, and they have different test phases. Some are called alpha, and then beta, and then they usually launch. Heroes of the Storm, that game right now is alpha. We've invited a certain group of players in to try that game, but it's there's no confidentiality around it. Like, people can stream it, so you can actually go online and check it out.
Okay,
but that's in alpha right now. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll come back to you when we talk about Hearthstone as well. Coming up on today's show, we'll be talking about all the games that you heard in the trailer, or have you seen in our Facebook postings for the last 6 days, plus the latest on the Xbox One, the $500 million project known as Destiny. We'll also talk about Amazon and their acquisition of Twitch, and so much more. But first, let's start with a look at Borderlands, the pre-sequel published by 2K Games. Chris, a pre-sequel, that's a definite first for me. I've never heard of the term pre-sequel. Must be from 2K.
Maybe this year will be a number of firsts for you, Raj. Maybe Liverpool will win the Premier League.
This is coming from the Fulham fan.
Yes, I apologise. So Borderlands, there's been 2 games in the series so far. Borderlands and then Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
So people always ask, well, what happened between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2? There was quite a jump. So Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is the sequel to Borderlands and the prequel to Borderlands 2.
It's like Borderlands 1.5. I mean, in the very simplistic terms. Yeah,
very simplistic terms. Unofficially, very simplistic.
That's my take on it.
But it really reflects the humour of Gearbox. Gearbox have a great sense of humour, and they do enjoy creating new words. So this is set in between the 2 stories.
The pre-sequel. So this is the 3rd release for this franchise.
Yes.
Of the 4 main characters, as in Nisha, Athena, Claptrap, and Willem the Enforcer. Wilhelm the Enforcer. Which do you identify yourself with the most?
What's great about these 4 characters is they're not just brand new, plucked out of the air. They actually have all made appearances within Borderlands, either Borderlands 1 or Borderlands 2. Everybody who enjoys the game will know Claptrap, and I would have to identify with Claptrap, really. He is annoying. He's loved and hated, so I'm more on the loved side, I would hope. Agree, guys? Thank you. They all nodded.
I just met you.
Yeah. You'll love me.
I'll ask your ex-girlfriend about it, but go ahead.
So I Claptrap. I'm a huge fan of Claptrap.
Okay. Alicia, what do you know about Borderlands, the prequel, and is this first-person shooter right up your alley?
Well, I gotta actually confess that I'm not a big FPS player, but I really, really like the art style for Borderlands, and so I have been following the franchise, and I actually even attempted to play very badly Borderlands 2, and I think it's really cool, the pre-sequel, because that gives you the villain, Handsome Jack, his backstory. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting.
Jonathan, I'm assuming you've played the first two Borderlands releases, hence what are you expecting from this version? Based on
I've been playing the first two games a lot because, again, like Alicia said, the art style is what grabbed me first, as well as the humor and everything. Now I'm looking forward to this sequel is how they actually implement the new abilities, like when you jump in the moon, like when you're on the moon, gravity is like very high, like very low, right? So you get to do like a bunch of like special attacks using your oxygen tank as well, and some freezing weapons as well too, if I recall. But mostly it's for the humor side, and I like to see how they actually develop Handsome Jack's story, because in this pre-sequel, apparently he seems to be more of like a guy who really wants to do good, but we'll see how it goes from there. And plus, I kind of want to see how Wilhelm himself turned from a regular guy to a robot in Borderlands 2.
The Enforcer.
Yeah, the Enforcer.
Chris Jennings, coming back to you, can this pre-sequel stand alone by itself, or does a gamer have to buy the first two releases by 2K and then only enjoy the pre-sequel?
Well, I definitely say Borderlands pre-sequel is out there for the fans. Gearbox love their fans, so if you've played the previous games, you're going to enjoy this game. But I think people are becoming more aware of games like Borderlands. Everybody who talks about Destiny can't help but reference Borderlands. If you like looting, if you like building up your characters, Borderlands is the game for you.
No, but
I would say
stand alone.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. You can play it by itself. It's got very good story. It will link to the other stories, but you still don't have to follow those.
Okay, then we're giving away 2 copies of this game for the Xbox 360 console, which is being released in 2 weeks. The game that is, and for more information, you can go online to www.2k.com. That's 2k.com. You're listening to SportsZone on 9-3 Live, and today it's about esports and cybergaming. This is our penultimate show of the year in relation to the multi-billion-dollar gaming industry. And to tell us about what's hot and what's not, I have 4 experts in their own right, and they are Alan Cho, Chris Jennings, Alicia Lee, and Jonathan Toyard. Now, just before we do our first prize giveaway, let's talk about Sleeping Dogs, the definitive edition. This is a remastered version for the current gen consoles, as in for the PS4 and the Xbox One. And once again, the setting is in Hong Kong and the triads. Jonathan, could you briefly tell us about the storyline?
Oh, okay. Apparently, you are playing this undercover cop named Wei Shen, and he actually has to investigate this triad in Hong Kong. But along the way, he's actually torn between the friends he made in the triad back then, and the police force that he works with. So it's actually, okay, the game is basically like Grand Theft Auto, except with a Hong Kong flavor and a really nice combat system, where you can not only have really good gunplay with slowdown and all that, but you also have a really good melee combat system where you can actually beat up people in very flavoristic kung fu style and use the props around you and the objects as your weapons as well.
Published by Bandai Namco. Alan, I believe you've heard about the original release of this game from 2 years ago, and in 2 weeks comes the remastered version. What are you expecting from Sleeping Dogs, the definitive edition?
You know, I'm a big fan of this genre. I haven't actually played this particular game when it came out originally, but I'm a big fan of GTA. Those
Grand Theft Auto,
old school Ninja Gaiden, that stuff. Actually, I looked at the graphics of this particular game, and I don't know if anyone remembers, there's a game called Wet, and it was voiced by Eliza Dushku. I'm probably killing the name, but it looks a lot like that, and if it's kind of in that style, I might give it a go. It looks really good.
Alicia, this game has more than 30 over Asian voices, including the likes of Lucy Liu, Edison Chen, Kelly Hu, and Robin Shou. If those of you who remember the 2 Mortal Kombat movies that were made in the mid-90s, Robin, of course, played the character of Liu Kang. So are you surprised by the lineup of the cast, which also includes Emma Stone? And are you looking forward to the release?
Yeah, I mean, when the game came out 2 years ago, it was already on my radar of something I definitely want to play. And I'm actually very, very impressed that they managed to pull so many names together to voice this
Asian
cast.
voices.
Yes, Asian voices, which is, I think, pretty awesome because it's quite rare that you get something like that here. So it's definitely top of my list that things I'm gonna check out soon.
All right then, the remastered version by Bandai Namco is being released next weekend, and for more information you can go online to www.sleepingdogs.com. sleepingdogs.net. That's sleepingdogs.net. Right now, it's time for our first prize giveaway. We are looking for 2 winners who have not won on SportsZone in the last 1 month. If you have not won on SportsZone in the last 1 month, you can compete today. So for now, we are giving away 2 sets of prizes. Each set comes with a copy of Borderlands, the pre-sequel for the Xbox 360, plus the Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition for the Xbox One, plus a pair of tickets to GameStart, which we'll talk about in a couple of more minutes. So a chance to win this $200 package. All you have to do is to call in right now with the right answer to this question. How many Borderlands games have 2K released, including the pre-sequel? How many Borderlands games, the Borderlands version, the games version, has 2K released, including the pre-sequel? The hint is a number from 1 to 10. Call now, 66911938. That's 66911938. Meanwhile, let's use the few minutes that we have before we go to the news headlines. Let's talk about a bit about GameStart. Alicia, the event, there was an event 2 days ago. For the media, I believe.
Yes, that's right. So we actually had a media event a couple of days ago at St. Games Cafe, one of our partners, to actually announce the full lineup of what people can expect at GameStart come 25th October. So I think it's really awesome. People were excited. We announced, a whole list of almost 40 games. We've got strong exhibitors on board, tons of content, tournaments, esports, panels, the works.
So with 3 more weeks to the convention, how is the organization coming along?
It's pretty crazy, but it's coming together really, really well. And I think we're really lucky that we have good, strong exhibitors, sponsors, and partners who have come on board and really supported this initiative. So I think we're all together putting on a really good show for all the visitors who are going to come.
So for those who are still wondering what it's about, what 1 or 2 key highlights that you want to stress?
I think the key highlights would be games, because it's a gaming convention. So you get preview of games. You're going to see things like Bloodborne. You're going to see things that are not out yet. You get to see Evolve, which is 2K's game coming out in February. So all these you get to try hands-on. Of course, Blizzard.
Diablo.
We'll have Diablo for the new PS4 console. You also get to see World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor, there are also international producers coming in. So we have international guests. We have esports tournaments. Capcom Pro Tour Asia, which is a regional Street Fighter tournament, will be happening as well.
Chris, what are your thoughts on an event like GameStart?
I think it's fantastic. I think Alicia said it earlier about the community. We host events in our office where we promote them on Facebook, and there's only so many people we can bring in. Raj, I'm sorry I haven't brought you in yet. And we see how strong the community is, we see how positive they are, and we want to give back more. And it's hard for us to do that all the time. So I think bringing something like GameStart into Asia or to Singapore is fantastic, and I'm sure the fans as well as the publishers like myself, we are very thankful for what you're doing.
We've got less than 90 seconds. Alicia, we'll let you have the last say. How and when can anyone find more information about GameStart and buy tickets?
You can go to gamestart.asia and check out tickets there. So all the information, all the games, all the publishers, everything is up there. So just visit the site. And
how much are the tickets?
It's $8.50 for a 1-day ticket and $15 for a 2-day.
And the event is taking place on which exact date again?
25th and 26th October at Suntec Convention Centre.
There you heard it, the latest from GameStart. Alicia Lee, of course, is speaking from her role as the director of the event. Now, just before we head to the news headlines, here's the contest question and the answer. We asked you a few minutes ago, how many Borderlands games have 2K released, including the pre-sequel? Of course, the answer is 3. That's Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, and now Borderlands the pre-sequel. Congratulations to our 2 winners in Andrew Pang and Sean Ng. Andrew and Sean, congratulations. You won for yourselves an Xbox 360 version of Borderlands the pre-sequel and the Xbox One version of Sleeping Dogs, the definitive edition, courtesy of our friends from 2K Games and Bandai Namco. You can check out 2k.com or www.sleepingdogs.net. Time now for the news headlines, but when we return, it's your chance to win more prizes and listen to more information about the latest titles and gaming events happening in the Republic. So stay tuned to more SportsZone right here on 938 Live. Welcome back to part 2 of SportsZone on 9-3 Live. I'm the Rajman, and today we turn the spotlight on cyber sports and gaming. Joining me are four guests in the studio, and they are Jonathan Toyard, who is the former editor and writer for GameSpot Asia. Chris Jennings from 2K Games is back with us on the show, and making their respective debuts are Alicia Lee from Zombits, and Alan Cho represents the famous gaming brand Blizzard. Now, in the first half of the show, we gave away 2 titles for the Xbox consoles. We also talked about this gaming convention, which is known as GameStart. It's taking place in Singapore for the first time in 3 weeks at Suntec City. Right now, Chris Jennings is eagerly waiting to tell us about the launch of the new WWE 2K15 video game. So, Chris, how much has gone into the development of the latest edition of the WWE gaming scene?
Lots has gone into the development of the game. If you've seen the trailer, we released it on our Facebook page 2K Games Asia. The models of the characters are looking fantastic, more realistic than anything I've seen before, in line with what we've done with NBA 2K. The team in the US has been traveling over the US, actually capturing all of the different wrestlers. So after they finish their show, when they ever they have free time, they set up this big camera booth and they film them. The audio as well, we are very proud of our audio, our commentating in NBA, and we're doing the same for WWE now as well.
So what would you say is the main difference from this version than its predecessors in terms of maybe the storylines?
Yeah, so aside from the visuals, there is a new mode called the career mode. Career mode, which lets you start. You're a fan of WWE yourself. You start in NXT as a rookie, and you hopefully make it to the main events. And on top of that, we have a showcase mode where you get to enjoy the past rivalries. So Cena versus Punk, Triple H versus Heartbreak Kids. You get to relive those fantastic rivalries.
Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man. Yeah, I think.
I don't think we've released that yet.
Okay, I'm just putting it out there now. So now, a few weeks ago, the WWE held a stage forum. That means in front of a group of about, I think, 1,000 in an auditorium. They brought a number of the stars themselves, from Hulk Hogan to Roman Reigns. John Cena, of course, was there, along with Sting and Sheamus. And the guest MC was Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this is the WWE's way of introducing the roster of the stars which were going to appear in the new game. This was done about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Let's listen to a short clip between Steve Austin and, of course, John Cena.
John Cena, you were on the cover this year, 2K15. I'm okay with these guys. Maybe let's look at these guys. We'll see how it pans out. Joined in the ranks of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, The Rock. How do you feel about that?
It's a great honor to be on the cover of 2K15, and not only to stand among names as LeBron and The Rock, but just because of the advancements they've made in the game. As Seamus talked about, I think forever, those serious gamers we have in the crowd, WWE games have often been criticized for their graphics. The gameplay is always fun, but when the reviews come out, they're always criticized for their graphics. And this year, 2K has completely made it real. 2K has put their touch, the same touch that they put on the NBA games, they brought that to WWE. So to be able to be on the cover of their first real offering to this game through all gen platforms, and that is so good, and the graphics are so phenomenal. I know the gameplay is going to be phenomenal. This is truly the re-release of the WWE brand at the hands of 2K. So for them to use me as the hood ornament, that's a good idea. That's a great.
That was the 15-time WWE World Champion John Cena talking about the game. Jonathan, how cool is that to have some of the biggest names in front of a live audience in an auditorium talking about the game?
Ooh, wow, that's actually really awesome.
Yeah.
I would kind of hope that something can be pulled off in Asia, but that might be pretty expensive, honestly.
What are you looking forward to from this version?
There was actually a mode that I just recently heard. Apparently, it's a career invasion where you can actually get your players created characters and bring them into the game somehow to interrupt you during the careers. Is that correct, Chris? Is there like such a mode?
Do you know?
You're really putting me on the spot there.
Sorry about that. I just heard about it recently.
No, you can't talk about it, or
I can't talk about that.
Okay.
Ooh, sorry about that. Yeah. But this is actually something I just picked up on GameSpot, and apparently it's. But I do like the realism and everything about the game.
Okay.
And so far, I've only seen a bit of it, but it looks very, very promising.
Alicia Lee, were you ever into these games featuring wrestlers and fighters like the UFC, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, and of course the WWE?
I used to play Street Fighter a lot when I was in school. I spent half my life in arcades playing Street Fighter. And I know I'm going to give my age away, but I used to watch WWE when they were WWF.
Okay.
Yes. And I was a massive, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart fan. So
That was the best time. Yeah.
yeah, that was awesome.
Alan, are you a fan of the WWE franchise, or is this not your cup of tea?
No, I'm old too. I remember the WWF days, Saturday night to main event. It's a big Hulk Hogan. Hulk's in the game?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and actually there's a collector's edition coming out in Singapore.
Holy smokes. Okay, maybe I got
signed picture.
maybe I got to try this. I'm really bad at fighting games, but yeah, for Hulk, I might
We don't see
this.
WWE as a fighting game. It replicates what you see on TV. It's not just using.
Yeah, but I don't
images.
feel the pain, right?
Well, you can if I stand behind you.
Oh, damn.
Now, last year there was a special edition by the Undertaker. There were 10,000 versions.
Yeah, the Phenom edition.
signed by him. And this year, like you said, there's a special version for model
Hulkamania,
after
the Hulkamania edition.
So it's coming out in what? Last year it was a model after a coffin, and this year the special edition is.
It's not as fancy as a coffin. It's just a normal box, but you get a funky doll of NWO days Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan.
Nice.
And you get a signed
card
picture and a piece of the Raw mat when he made his return to the actual mat from the arena when he returned to WWE.
What is your final message to the listeners regarding WWE 2K15, and when are the release dates?
I would say if you've played WWE games before and you thought they're a bit same old, this may be the edition that you think you should buy because there is a lot of improvements. The old gen is launching on October 31st, and that's on PS3 and Xbox 360. And then the next gen version arrives on November 21st.
It's a pity, Chris, because you and I will be in Kuala Lumpur next week with John Cena and 20 other WWE superstars, and we could have got them to sign the edition.
Maybe I'll still try to get them to sign something. Bring all my t-shirts.
Okay. For more details on this game, check out www.2k.com. That's 2k.com. In a few minutes, we'll be giving away 2 copies for the PlayStation 4 console. In addition, we're also giving away 2 copies of the latest Lord of the Rings installment, The Shadow of Mordor, for the PS3 console. Alicia Lee is here. This, of course, is courtesy of the local distributor in Ingram Micro Games in Singapore. Alicia's company, Zombits, does the PR for them. Alicia, maybe you can tell us a bit about The Shadow of Mordor and how and when does this installment take place?
So Shadow of Mordor is actually a third-person open-world action game. So it's set between the events of The Hobbit and of the Lord of the Rings series. And it tells the story of Talion, which is a Gondorian ranger. So he's a ranger? He's a ranger, and who gets slain and resurrected. So the player becomes this character, and your journey is basically finding out why you've been brought back and seeking vengeance on those who did this horrible thing to you.
That's right. He was killed, and then he was resurrected with wraith-like abilities. Wraith, I think, is like the undead.
Correct.
Yeah. But what are the special abilities or powers which they introduce for the key characters in this game?
I think something very, in terms of the key characters, he has wraith-like powers that he uses to control enemies and to seek information. Another thing that's interesting about this version of the game is that they introduced the Nemesis system, which is that every experience for every player is unique, in that the enemies are generated in a random way. So every time you play the game, it's going to be a different experience.
I've watched the trailer. It looks breathtaking, to say the least. I'm assuming the gameplay in terms of the graphics and animation must be of the same high standards.
Yes, the game is looking very good. So far, some of the reviews have been coming out already, and everyone's been saying it's really, really, really awesome.
Jonathan, what have you heard about Shadow of Mordor, and are you a fan of the Lord of the Rings franchise in the first place?
As a fan, I'm like half and half. I like the lore, but I just don't like how sometimes, especially with The Hobbit, the 2 previous Hobbit movies, that they're just stretched on too long for no apparent reason. But I do like the concept of Shadow of Mordor. Like, basically, you are taking Assassin's Creed, you're taking open world gameplay and putting it in this one big context as you're trying to decimate an orc army, the Uruk-hai armies and all that. Yeah. And the Nemesis system actually adds in a lot of replayability. So in case you in case you want to have a different experience, you just start an entirely new save lah.
Okay.
It's really awesome, like especially the combat. The combat's really good. And I do love how the tutorial was implemented, because Talion is a father figure. He actually teaches his kid how to fight. and when it does a sneak mechanic, apparently you're just trying to plant a kiss to your wife while she's asleep. It's pretty cool how they actually implement it.
Ellen, are you a fan of the franchise? Are you looking forward to this particular game?
I read all the books. I've played none of the games. But yeah, it does sound pretty interesting, especially if is it canon?
It's canon, apparently.
Yes. Really? Oh, okay. So I would play it just to hear the story, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So, of course, we're talking about the lead character who plays as a ranger. Now, for more details of the game, you can check out shadowofmordor.com. That's shadowofmordor.com. Time now for Traffic Watch, and when we come back, we'll give away those prizes. Plus, we'll hear from Alan, as he's got the latest on the online card game known as Hearthstone. So, time now for Traffic Watch.
This is WWE superstar Big E, and you're cruising with the guys, my guys, from 938 Live Sports.
We're in the final stretch of SportsZone, and today we turn the spotlight on cybersports and gaming. It's our third show of 2014 on the billion-dollar gaming industry. And with me in the studio are the four experts in the form of Jonathan Toyard, Alan Cho, Chris Jennings, and Alicia Lee. And I'm, of course, Raj Kumar. Okay, let's give away some prizes. We're looking for two winners who will take home the WWE 2K15 video game for the PS4 console, plus a copy of the Shadow of Mordor for the PS3 console. And also tickets to attend the GameStart convention in 3 weeks' time at Suntec City. A reminder, if you won prizes on the show in the last 1 month, you cannot take part today. So for the chance to win a PlayStation Games package worth $200 each, tell me the answer to this question. In the game Shadow of Mordor, the lead character, Talion, is killed by Sauron's armies, but he is later given ghost-like powers and risen from the dead. Tell me, which class did Talion belong to? In other words, what was his occupation? I mean, was he a rogue, a druid, a wizard, a magic user, a ranger, or a pure fighter? So which class did Talion, the lead character, belong to? Was he a rogue, a magic user, a druid, a ranger, or pure fighter? Call now, 66-911-938. 66-911-938. Another hint is, if you remember what the class of Aragorn in the original Lord of the Rings, what he played, then you'll know what class Talion belongs to. 66-911-938. Time now to turn our attention to our friend from Blizzard, as in Alan Cho, for the next few minutes. Alan, can you tell us about your latest game, Hearthstone? I heard you guys have reached 20 million gamers already.
Yeah, Hearthstone is one of
Okay.
actually it's Hearthstone. Yeah.
Say it again.
I got Hearthstone.
Okay.
Yeah, I got corrected by that too in HQ. They're pretty particular about that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's one of our newest games. We're really excited. It breaks a lot of ground for us in the fact that it's a new genre. It's a card game, right? And it's turn-based. Really,
it's an online card game.
It's an online card game,
Yeah.
right? So if you've played, I guess, things like Pokemon, right? And you're familiar with the physical card game. This is an online card game, so there's no real cards. It's all virtual. And I'll get into it in a little bit, but that allows us to do a lot of things that we haven't in the past. So it's a new genre for us. It uses heroes and characters from the Warcraft franchise. So if you're familiar with people like Jaina or Malfurion, they're in the game. And the other really interesting thing about this game for us, and it's new, is that it's essentially free. Right? There's no license, there's no box to buy. You can just download it and you can play it. And we really didn't know what the reception was going to be for the game, but so far it's been great. We're really happy with that. People are happy playing it.
Well, why do you suppose there are so many players playing it, and is it only strictly confined to the PC or the mobile phone?
Yeah, so it breaks ground for us in that it's not just PC, it's also on iPad, and it's coming on the phone. The devs, they make games that they like to play. So generally what they come out with is really entertaining, and the bar is really high. So they were able to meet that bar this time around, so it's great to see. But I think the other thing, and Jonathan mentioned it before, a term that we use a lot is easy to play or easy to learn, hard to master. So I guarantee you, anybody, and I'll it's not interactive, but if anyone ever sees me and talks to me about it, I guarantee you, if you pick up this game, you don't learn it in 5 minutes, I'll give you your money back or whatever it is. It's very easy to pick up, but it's very, very deep, right? You're going to spend a lot of time thinking about strategy, and it's really about cards, right? Card lust. You want to pick up new cards. You want to get legendary cards, put them in your deck and see what they do. And it's competitive. You can play against other people. And then the other thing is it's a Blizzard game, so the polish is really there, right? Like I said, with the card game, you can do things that you can't do. Like when you play a card that shoots a fireball, an actual fireball goes across the screen and hits the other dude.
Okay, we'll just hold that thought on the fireball. Time to announce the contest winners. In the game, Shadow of Mordor, the lead character talent. Which class does he belong to? Of course, he's a ranger. Congratulations to Joanne Wong and Tommy Tam. Joanne and Tommy, congratulations. You won for yourselves a $200 package, which comprises the WWE 2K15 video game for the PS4 console, plus a copy of the Shadow of Mordor for the PS3 console, and tickets to attend the GameStart convention in 3 weeks' time at Suntec City. The games are courtesy of 2K and Ingram Micro Games in Singapore. For more details, visit the respective websites of 2K.com and shadowofmordor.com. Ellen, let's come back to you. From the Fireball, what makes this different from other mobile games on the market today?
Yeah, so there are a couple. I think just to expand on what I was saying a little earlier, it's also a competitive game, like I was saying, and really I think that appeals to a lot of people. You play a hero, and the other guy plays a hero. You try to play cards to get him down,
right?
But there's an element of chance in there. So the cards do random things, and as a result, there's this element where anyone can beat anyone else at any given time, and that makes the game not only fun to play but also really fun to watch. And you see a lot of people on stream kind of playing the game and streaming it, and thousands of people are watching them.
Yeah.
And we're trying to keep the game fresh by introducing new cards. We just introduced Naxxramas, which introduced 30 new cards, which changes the game completely.
Now, of course, one of the biggest franchises from Blizzard is, of course, Warcraft. You're moving towards your 10th year in just about 1 or 2 months. How you guys, how was the company able to sustain this game for so long, 10 years?
Yeah, it's flown by 10 years. I think 2 things. One is we are continually adding new content. We call them patches, but a lot of time the patches are like expansions to other games. It's just whole new content classes. We have a new expansion coming called Warlords of Draenor. It's the 5th expansion coming November 13th. But the second, I think, more sticky and part of the game that gives it longevity is the social aspect, right? You've got millions of people online playing, and I can't tell you how many times people have approached me and said, hey, it's changed my life. I met my wife or I met my husband through the game. That happens.
Yeah.
I think that's the part, the social element that really has given it life.
Can I believe you have news on a rather interesting event that's coming up in about 8 weeks from now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the 10th anniversary officially is November 23rd. And we've got a lot of stuff going on, both in the game and outside the game. I think for Singapore, what's really exciting is that we're going to have an actual party, right? A 10-year anniversary party. We've rented out all of Zook, right? And it's free. Everyone come down. So all current or past players come down. Those of you familiar with the game, it's kind of themed off of Dark Moon Fair. So there'll be a lot of stuff going on there. Giveaways. We're giving away a trip to BlizzCon, by the way, which is our big convention. That's happening early November. You can go online to our Facebook page, Warcraft SCA.
Where is BlizzCon taking place?
It's in Anaheim this year.
The U.S. Okay.
And so there's an online app on Facebook. You can go and you can apply. But if you want to hear more about the anniversary party, you can go to warcraft.sg. It's kind of under construction now, but more information will be there about the event itself.
Jonathan Toyat, are you surprised by the legacy of Warcraft? 10 years. Are you a fan of the franchise?
Yeah, actually I am. I've actually been playing it since the very first one, Orcs and Humans, right? I believe the very first one where it's all 2D and everything.
Yeah, the RTS one.
Yeah. But what I really like is how they actually change up. They take the same lore and then they make it up and adjust whatever games they make into a current age. Like for right now, free-to-play games like Brave Frontier and all that, they seem very more popular and whatnot. So why not create a free-to-play card game out of it? So that's why Hearthstone came out, which is pretty good. As well as the Heroes of the Storm as well. That's also pretty awesome too. Like how they actually take the lore, at the same time they try to fit into what's really hot with gaming nowadays.
Chris, Ellen's been talking about Hearthstone for the last couple of minutes. Is that something that you're into, an online card gaming thing?
Yeah, using a phrase Alan used, I have card lust. I love card games. From the days of Pokemon, I used to love playing Pokemon card games, and Hearthstone just captured me. It was through word of mouth. The word of mouth of this game has been unbelievable, and I know everybody in the industry. You meet them and they're playing on the iPad. You're like, oh yeah, let's add each other's name. Very good social element. I love the game.
Alan, very quickly, maybe you can tell us the online site known as Twitch, where you can watch yourself or your friends' gameplay on this platform.
Yeah, so Twitch is basically streaming. It's like everyone can get their 15 minutes of fame. All you need is a webcam, and then you can play games on your computer. It captures that and streams it and allows, tens of thousands of people to watch you. Apparently, there are personalities on Twitch where they get donations and they make a lot of money. It's a huge phenomenon. I think they were acquired by Amazon.
Yeah, that's my follow-up question. Are you Chris Jennings? Are you surprised that Amazon paid $1 billion to acquire this portal?
No, I'm not surprised. I think it's great that radio shows like yourself, sports shows, you're recognizing that esports is becoming big. It's fantastic, and the fact that Amazon paid this much money, it shows you how big it's getting. They have so many people watching live streams. I think League of Legends had 30 million people watching one show.
It's probably more, but 30 seems like an official number.
Yeah, okay. It's unbelievable, and that's where young people are now. They're not watching TV all the time. They're sometimes watching live sports.
Okay, we've got 2 more minutes to wrap up. Chris, very quickly, what is the latest on Evolve, and when is it out on the market? Of course, Evolve is by 2K.
Yeah, so Evolve is launching on February 10th worldwide. We are going to be at Game Start. So if you want to have a go on this game, pop down. I would love to fight against you. I'll be the monster. You guys can be the hunters. I will destroy you.
The 4 hunters, right?
Yeah, there's 4 hunters. It's 4v1.
Yeah.
At the game show, there's going to be 2 monsters available and 8 hunters that you can play as.
Alicia, 2 weeks ago, the Xbox One finally made its release in Singapore after a 10-month delay. What do you know about whether it's been doing well or whether it's been worth the wait, the Xbox One?
Well, it has been quite challenging for Xbox, I think, launching so late in the market. But I must say that I was at their launch September 23rd at Funan, and they had a really good crowd turn out. Like, we had people queuing to collect their Xboxes. So I think they're off to a decent start, and hopefully we'll see more from them.
Yeah, I do hope that this one game coming out for Xbox One does pretty well. Sunset Overdrive. It's a shooter that's very colorful, third person, and it mixes in very acrobatic things like from Tony Hawk. So imagine Tony Hawk as a shooter. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
We'll let you have the last word, Jonathan. The game called Destiny, rated as the most expensive game ever produced, $500 million.
Yes.
Why does Destiny have to, cost $500 million?
Oh, it's because of the advertising and the marketing campaign for the game, as well as making sure that the servers actually do work whenever it launches. But at the same time, I believe there was a very big contract that Activision gave to Bungie to make them work on the game for 5-10 years, I believe. So Destiny is going to be that franchise that Activision builds on. But as it stands, the game itself is okay. I mean, right now it needs a bit more polishing up and a lot more soul coming in.
On that note, we've come to the end of another edition of Esports on SportsZone. A big thank you to Jonathan Toyard, the former editor and writer for GameSpot Asia, Chris Jennings from 2K, Alicia Lee from Zombits, and Alan Cho represents the famous gaming brand Blizzard. That's all the time we have on SportsZone. I'm the Rajman. Take care and bye for now.